You just had to know how to major crush on you. I mean, like all the girls did, but mine was like epic.
Hey, you remember the time that you told me gym teacher was Latin for pervert failure?
Yeah, and you gave me detention, so I got to spend even more time with you.
Or you once spread a rumor that I had, and I do quote, raging gonorrhea.
Less competition.
Hello! Welcome back to House of R. I'm Joanna Robinson, and joining me today, wearing the exact same clothes we wore on Monday, who could have guessed? It's Mallory Rubin. Hey, Mal.
Joanna, the studio smells like rotten coconuts. But Misty would say that's more of an us problem.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome back to Yellowjackets. Season 3, Episode 3. We are, yes, recording this on the same day that we recorded our last podcast. So if we look exactly the same, that is why. There's a lot going on.
Yes.
That's what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Before we get into Season 3, Episode 3 of Yellowjackets, should we talk about some things that are going on elsewhere in various feeds?
Let's do it.
If you're like Yellowjackets on House of R, I thought that was a prestige feed situation. It's House of R this year.
That's right.
Buzz, bitches. We got it over here. Did you see John Richter's new art for us?
It's incredible
This
stuff.
antler art. We've got like a yellow. Anyway, John's the best.
John's spoiling us.
John's really coming through with the set deck. So listen, that's what's happening here. Yellowjackets. Next week,
Mm-hmm.
Daredevil.
I was like, what's next week?
Yeah.
Where are we in time?
Daredevil.
That's right.
We're getting ready for
Primer.
the return of Daredevil. So we'll be doing a little Daredevil primer,
I'm hyped.
as well as more Yellowjackets, because we're doing this week to week and we're so excited about that.
Hell yeah.
hobbiesanddragons@gmail.com
Yes.
is where you can reach us with your Yellowjackets thoughts and opinions. Mallory and I are also covering White Lotus
Yeah.
over on the Prestige TV feed with Bill Simmons.
What a blast.
Rob Mahoney and I are covering Severance over on the Prestige
Incredible.
TV feed. So it's a lot going on.
Yeah.
Also,
Yes.
on the Ringerverse.
Yeah.
I know I just talked about Prestige a lot, but usually we talk about Ringerverse
That's
here.
right.
The Midnight Boys,
Pew, pew.
pew pew, have a couple things going on.
Mhm.
There's the Blackest movie draft.
Yes.
Incredible stuff. That already happened
By the time you hear this.
by the time you hear
Yeah.
this. But I just thought people should check it out. Over in the Ringerverse,
Mm-hmm.
the Mint Edition crew is doing 11 on 11 Marvel versus DC.
Nice.
We love a Marvel versus DC fight.
Love.
The Midnight Boys, pew pew, are doing their own Daredevil primer. I'm
Mhm.
very interested to see what they come up with for that. And then, how can it already be upon us? Another Ringerverse recommends.
Oh no. Oh no. My goodness. Well, February is a famously short month.
I skipped January and I was like, I'll have plenty of time before February. Okay, I'll figure out something for you guys next week. And then Button Mash is doing something called Franchise Speed Dating, which is very exciting. So that is what is going on. There's a lot. There's Prestige to keep track of, Ringerverse to keep track of, House of R to keep track of.
Mhm.
How can folks keep track of all that stuff? Mallory Rubin.
Let's keep it simple. Follow the pod.
Why not?
Follow House of R, follow the Ringerverse, follow the Prestige TV podcast on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. Guess what? You can watch full video episodes of House of R, Midnight Boys, Prestige TV on Spotify, on the Spotify app. Full video episodes. Incredible. You can also watch our video episodes and other videos on the Ringerverse YouTube channel. So subscribe to that if you haven't yet. And then you can find the Ringerverse on the social media platform of your choosing, whatever that might be. You can also send us your emails because the inbox is always open. Hobbits and Dragons, no matter what we're covering, hobbitsandragons@gmail.com.
Thanks so much, Mallory Rubin.
Back to you in the studio.
Spoiler warning.
Mm-hmm.
Season 3, Episode 3 of Yellowjackets. Everything up through Season 3, Episode 3 of Yellowjackets. That's all we've watched. So that's all we'll be
Yes.
talking about today.
Them's the breaks.
Them's the Breaks, written by Jonathan Lisco and Ashley Lyle and Bart Nickerson. Once again, that's the trio of creators of the show and directed by Jonathan Lisco. So this is a creator special. And we'll start, as we often do on a Yellowjackets pod, with the unreliable narrator / hallucinator / dreamer counter.
Mhm.
And this episode ends with what I'm calling gas leak dreams.
Yeah.
And it's a gas leak is one of my favorite plot devices in genre television.
Yeah.
Steve, will you play this clip?
Yes, it was a gas leak, everyone. But just get some air and good night's rest, you'll be fine. these gas things will happen. What was it really?
Stick with the gas thing. I'll fill you in tomorrow.
Right.
Are you okay? Buffy, I was worried you'd gotten caught in the building. There was a gas leak.
Oh, there was that gas leak last year.
Oh, don't blame it all on a gas leak year. Sure. This coming from the guy who's had how many psychotic breaks on campus?
Are we including the gas leak year?
It's a gas leak episode.
Great.
Great stuff.
Poisonous gas?
Van, Shauna,
In a
Akila
cave?
have some wild dreams.
Sure do.
And then are we counting Van and Ty and the coyote? What do you think? Do you feel like that really happened? That a coyote with a little bloody rabbit in his mouth wandered past a derelict ice cream shop off the
Ozzy's
interstate?
homemade ice cream parlor.
Yeah.
I think that could have happened, certainly. But as we hear from Dream Lottie, it's all one dream. So who even knows?
Wild.
And as we hear from Mari, sudden font of wisdom, just like a dark reality.
Just on the other side of our real reality. Question for you.
Yeah.
Did I miss anything?
I think the question is, is everything that's ever happened in the show part of this because of the poisonous gas seeping into their terrain, their water, their air? Who could say?
I did not get this impression, but I was sort of checking in on some of the reviews of the season.
Yeah.
Of people. Most critics I think saw one more episode than we've seen. So we've seen up through 3. They sent critics 4 episodes.
Right.
And the conclusion that they seem to be drawing is that Yellowjackets is doing a lot of work this season to give us even more plausible explanations for the supernatural things that we've seen.
Right.
And this is something we talked about a lot throughout our coverage. Is like, is there a plausible explanation for all the birds falling out of the sky, et cetera, et cetera? And so gas leak, however many months in the wilderness is quite the possible explanation for what's going on here.
This has always been one of the theories, right? Yeah. Yeah, there were like the minerals.
Something in the water.
Something in the water.
Yeah.
Something in the air.
Yeah.
So, who knows if it's just engaging with that aspect of the fandom?
Right.
Or if this, like the gas itself, will seep into the story in a bigger way beyond just that one cavern where it made the lantern go boom.
I said
it didn't make the lantern go boom when they were further away from it, though.
It's true.
So if you're on lantern watch.
I always am.
It was just the real pocket of gas there.
I've said this.
Who hasn't faced a stubborn pocket of gas,
Okay. Does this go back to us talking about what you prefer to take in your coffee? Your at-home answer is different from your out-in-the-public answer. Mallory's like, got it. No more personal information right before we record. Okay, so listen.
That's a great transition into the what would you rather eat?
Yeah, what would you rather eat?
Yeah.
I don't have anything for the Meadowline encounter. Do you have anything that struck you?
I don't think so. Certainly not in comparison to the ample, robust consideration set there off the double premiere.
I suppose perhaps Shauna telling Mel not to be boring is one we could consider.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're not going to turn out to be boring. Oh, Mel.
What's on the menu, aka would you rather eat?
Mm-hmm.
Here's our offering in episode 3.
Yeah.
Ozzy's homemade ice cream. So good it will make a vagrant-looking man's eyes pop out.
Yep.
Izzy's Cafes to die for scones with verified Vermont berries.
Mm-hmm.
Caspian's semi-hard cheeses, and it must be Caspian's. Shauna's pancakes, chocolate chips included.
Mm-hmm.
Or Lottie's chicken harissa with green beans almondy. They must be
crisp.
Yeah,
very fussy.
Or Coach Ben's juicy roasted cave bats.
Certainly we can eliminate the juicy roasted cave bats.
Juicy.
Not for me. I thought that I like to have dinner when it's right for me, not when Lottie insists that it's time for Jeff to come home. So that's a no for me.
The Almondine's out.
Also just the dig at Shauna's cooking in the morning leading to the praise of Lottie's cooking at night. No, but for the same reason, I can't possibly pick the pancakes now that I know they suck. So I don't.
Even if they have chocolate chips in them?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It sounds like we're just like covering up a problem there. I do not want to engage with the No Eyes ice cream shop where the coyote is eating the rabbit through the broken window and a child's bike has ribbons mysteriously swaying in the breeze.
Derelict's tricycle is top of my no list.
It's a no for me.
It's an absolute no.
And so we've worked our way down to either the scones
Misty Rex
or the hard cheese to Misty Rex. Shauna thought the scones were overrated, but it's canon that we can't really take Shauna's culinary opinion seriously.
She makes shit pancakes.
Shit pancakes. Shit pancakes.
And also just terrible things happen in her kitchen.
Yeah, her phone rang and breakfast went to shit.
Yeah.
Misty puked. It smells so bad. She's still cooking, food prep happening right there. So I'm going to go with Caspian semi-hard cheeses.
That sounds
I love
delightful.
a cheese. I love a semi-hard cheese. I love a cheesemonger. And I am inclined to take a Misty Rex seriously.
Do you have a cheesemonger?
No.
And or
But my
have-
friend Steve, other Steve, as you often hear me refer to him,
I
other
love other
Steve has a
Steve.
cheesemonger, and he will bring cheese sometimes from his cheesemonger.
Do you ever engage with the cheesemongers at Whole Foods, the cheese counter
Yes.
people at Whole Foods?
Yes.
Delightful people.
Yes, I will ask a question sometimes if I'm searching for a Robusto. I can't find the Robusto. What do? I'll sometimes ask, or perhaps you have a recommendation for a cheddar.
I love a
or a
manchego.
brie. Oh,
Manchego.
wonderful!
That's a semi-hard cheese.
Yeah, that's a great. Look at you.
Yeah.
What a wonderful pick for a semi-hard cheese. Great stuff. Let's go to a monger together.
Okay, let's frequent a monger. Hobbitsanddragons@gmail.com if you have a recommendation for an LA-based cheesemonger. Thanks so much. That tactic worked for Rob when he was looking for a fishmonger in the Bay Area. Our
you
listeners
go.
found one for him. Okay, emails. Posters. I did ask someone to write in about the posters on top of above Misty's bed. Unfortunately, we got a great answer.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, the person who wrote in gave it to me a little saltily. So
Oh,
I'm
no.
just going to give you the answer, which is that it's Fan of the Opera, as I mentioned. I said Follies, it's not. It was Cajafal and Wizard of Oz are the three posters. Coming off of Agatha, we love a Wizard of Oz
Sure do.
poster in a bedroom. So
Sure do.
sounds great. Who's that blonde?
Mm-hmm.
Will suggested that perhaps it's Walter in a wig, Steve.
Will you wear wigs?
What a moment for wig watch that would be.
I know.
Boy,
If Walter just whips off the blonde wig at some point,
that would really be something.
I would be thrilled. Older Melissa.
Yeah.
I asked for people to write in with like 90s actresses who could fit in. If it wasn't, in fact, Hilary Swank,
Mhm.
you are still very much Team Swank.
Yeah, for now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think so.
Someone who I'm just going to call E because they did not sign it with their real name suggested Robin Tunney,
Mm-hmm.
who I think is a great pick from The Craft,
Yeah.
Empire Records. I could see it, Strong of Jaw.
Yeah.
I support it.
Yeah.
Allie wrote in with Misha Barton and Evan Rachel Wood, and she admitted in her email, and I just have to agree that these actresses are too young
Yeah.
for what
I
we're
think
looking
so.
for here. Though
Yeah.
Evan Rachel Wood is a fun. Evan Rachel Wood would kill
She'd be
in a
great.
Yellowjackets role,
She'd be great.
but not quite the right age.
Yeah.
But this is a really fun game to play. So, hobbitsanddragons@gmail.com if you have other older Melissa who are not Hilary Swank suggestions. Kneecap, Mallory, do you have anything to say about the emails we got about your thoughts and fears about a dislocated kneecap?
As mentioned last week, I was content to not research this further.
Oh, so sorry. Ever so
or
sorry.
explore this further. But I do appreciate all of the personal accounts, and hope everybody is feeling okay. How
Okay.
about you? Anything you want to share about what you've learned about dislocated kneecaps? We saw that was a considerable bruise on Mari this week.
Horrifying.
My goodness. Yeah.
Ben, who works in the orthopedic field, did want to point out that Mari is young and athletic and spry, and so that it would be
Right.
sort of like easier.
Uh-huh.
And the fact that she didn't dislocate the whole knee, but just the cap
Right.
is something that people talked about. But no matter what, it will be extremely painful.
Yes.
Not
Yes.
completely immobilizing,
Yeah.
but I believe it was.
You can avoid all of the ligament damage.
Katie, one of our listeners was like, when it happened to me, someone described it as worse than childbirth. At that point, I had not had children. I have since had children, and it is worse than childbirth. So, something to think about.
Jeez.
Foie gras.
So Mari would not be like just casually ripping off tunes and gnawing on a bat and trying to fuck her way out of a cave. She'd be in a little more pain than that.
I don't think she's doing anything casually. Her eyes are like tear bright the entire time that she's in there. Foie gras.
Yeah.
Let's split the difference.
Yeah.
Often raw, but can be served seared and warm.
Yeah.
Love it when we're both right.
Wonderful.
The greatest possible outcome. Episode breakdown.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start with the opening credits. We didn't talk about this last time, but I just want to mention that we've seen a ton of the new images that they've spliced into the opening credits.
Yeah.
We've seen a ton of them already.
Yeah, we have
Van
seen
stepping
a
on the
lot.
glass, Ben finding the pit, Vanity making out while glycerine by Bush Place. Misty vomiting up the red. Shauna hauling the dishes off her kitchen island and burning of the group photo. Those have all happened already in the first 3 episodes. I might have missed some, but
I think we got because one of the ones where I was like, I cannot possibly discern what I'm looking at without being able to freeze frame on this last week was what appeared to be a tiny little white figure in a. Did you hear my shoulder just crack?
Yeah. It's like dislocating your kneecap.
Oh man, you'd think I'd have a little more empathy for what Mari's going through. I can't even raise my arm 3 inches without a joint cracking. I was like, what is that? Is that somebody in outer space? And I think that was Shauna in the lake.
Oh.
Or
gas leak dream.
Doing the Allison Hightower bigger bathtub, as we will be referring to it from here on.
Big bathtub.
So yeah, we have. It feels like a striking volume of opening credits imagery so far through 3 episodes compared to how often we're typically wading deeper into the season to see a lot of those visuals. So, do you think they'll update them?
Ooh, that's a good idea. I think it's more like the Reddit detectives are too good at their freeze frame abilities, and let's just keep them in the dark about what's happening at the end of the season. But welcome to the opening credits, Callie Sadecki. Callie's here. She's in the main cast this season. She's shoplifting. She's wearing questionable jewelry. She's got a lot going on. So we will talk about all of it.
What an episode for Callie.
We're going to start with Mari and Ben in the cave.
Astonishing stuff.
This is it. We only get 1 episode of the Mari and Ben show in the cave, but what an episode it is.
This was great.
I love this, and I will forever cherish Mari singing. So can we hear this moment too, Steve?
Too sexy for this cave. Too sexy for this cave. Too sexy for this cave. I'm too sexy for this room. Too sexy for these rocks. Too sexy to be murdered. I'm hostage.
There's a part of the song by Right Said Fred from 1991 where he goes, I am a model, you know what I mean? She's like, I am a hostage. Mari.
This is inspired.
This is so good.
This is fantastic. Multiple times in this episode, I thought, wait, is it possible that Mari's not, in fact, the worst, but actually the best?
Mari might be the best.
Not something I thought I would ever have occasion to think.
It only took them 3 episodes for me to be like, I don't want Mari to go in the pit.
I know.
What if I want Mari to not go in the pit?
She's high comedy. Every Mari scene has been hysterical this season.
Exquisite.
Too sexy to be murdered.
Ben hobbles in with what he describes as, quote, a Cornish hen had a baby with a demon.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Mari says it's really juicy. These are the aforementioned cave bats that Ben is roasting.
Yeah. Sounded quite crunchy, I have to say. Quite crunchy.
Like chewy. I imagine they would be like quite chewy. So Ben, it seems, is very much rationing his Karma University supplies and is not tearing through them.
Yeah.
He's just like a cup of hot chocolate, a power bar,
right?
Mostly bat stuff.
Yes. After he inhaled the entire first peanut butter protein bar in one bite and then wasted a frankly too large portion to try to lure a deer, but instead got Mari. Imagine wasting part of your food getting Mari instead of venison. Absolute fucking calamity.
Well, if he wanted to prepare that, he could.
Oh my God. It's true. It's true. Well, but he's, as usual, quite judgmental. Joe, when he says, of course, I guess you're used to better these days, was he talking about that like farm fresh?
He was talking about Jen and the pheasants. Definitely not hobby.
That Mari described in detail and not the human flesh that he knows they've been feasting on.
Mari has this, we already heard it in the opening clip, this transparently awkward attempt to flirt with Ben, which really
so funny.
Endeared her to me. It's just genuinely some of the funniest things I've ever seen on this show. This. But what it reminded me of, I was looking up when this happened. In 1991, Oprah Winfrey had this episode of The Oprah Winfrey Show. Again, a show that I did not watch that much because it was on, I don't know, when we were at school or right after school. I was too young for it. I didn't watch The Oprah Winfrey Show, but I definitely watched this episode where very famously this guy talking about what you do when you're abducted, this expert on her show gave the advice of never go to a secondary location, which has become something that people quote all the time from that episode of The Oprah Winfrey Show. But another thing he said that I have remembered my whole life is that if you ever get abducted, so I was like ready. I'm like, if I get abducted, Oprah has taught me what to do.
Okay.
Is you share personal information with your kidnapper,
right?
So that you can humanize yourself to them, so that they will not dehumanize you, that they will consider that you are human with loved ones or hobbies or whatever it is.
Mari, as a Silence of the Lambs fan,
devotee,
would know this, right? It's like keep repeating the family ties, the name, humanize. Oh, Mari. Wow, that really left an impression on you.
It really did.
I think about it with you through the years.
I think about it all the time.
My goodness.
Probably Silence of the Lambs helped reinforce it.
What were your favorite lines from Mari's failed seduction here? Like, again, we heard a lot of it. I thought underrated, hilarious moment. When Mari said, "Am I blushing?" And he said, "No." Just the way Ben said, "No." And she goes, "Maybe I'm low on blood."
And he's like, "Probably it."
That just killed me.
It was very good.
Really, really, really very funny good. And great performance from both of them there. And then, we heard it at the top for a reason. Raging gonorrhea is historic in the history of the show. Less competition. Mari not missing a beat.
No.
I was cracking up.
She knows how to yes and improv a scene. Oh my God. Even when she's dealing with the kneecap and the what must be bat sinew in her teeth.
Tendons,
you know what I mean?
In the gums, and she's just sliding forward trying to seduce him, not missing a beat.
Mari, maybe my favorite character on the show now.
What a twist.
I'm sorry.
What a twist.
So good job for Alexa Barajas. Okay. Chekhov's bear mace. You outlined what was in the case, even though you did not have access to a freeze frame, and you did mention the bear mace. Was it gratifying to see it used so quickly?
So I would like to say for the record that I have never kept anybody prisoner in a cave.
Yet.
In any circumstance, including or especially after having been stranded in the wilderness for months on end.
Right.
However, I would like to think that should I find myself in such a circumstance, I would know not to leave the bear spray
within grasping distance,
within reach, like a dangling, jangling, tantalizing, shiny ring of keys.
Oh, ring of keys! I thought you were going to say something about the Red Hulk.
Like a dangling, tantalizing, swinging, shiny.
El Hulkito Rojo. Yeah.
Jomi.
Thank you, Mies.
So Mari improvising as she owns here quickly, didn't really have a plan. Grabbing it, macing Ben in the face. I was like, Mari's trying, and Ben was not prepared for this. Just as he is not prepared shortly after this for Mari to kick him, knock him over.
Do the exact same thing to him,
Wild stuff. But the extra, this is the chocolate chip on the pancake of Yellowjackets. It's not that Mari maces Ben and then Ben disarms her and turns around and sprays her in the face. It's in her hand still as he grabs it and they wrestle for it, and she is spraying herself with his hand guiding in the face. I can't believe you maced me. I'm fucking blind. Me? You did this, you fucking idiot.
And just the two of them rolling around on the cave floor.
This season has given us Mari in a pit, Mari getting maced in the face by bear spray, Mari getting shoved into a bowl of stew on the ground that Shauna had previously spit in, Shauna saying, "I can't believe we didn't eat that bitch first," and Ben calling Mari a fucking idiot. Yeah. We are living.
Yeah, we are living. What did he say last week? He was like, "Shut the fuck up, Mari," or something like that. Like, whatever. She's moaning in the pit, and he's like, "Shut up." Okay.
Oh my God.
Ben has this conversation with Mari.
Yeah.
About how surreal their situation is. Like, just reminding all of us, the audience, we might have been in the wilderness with this crew for many years now as this TV show has progressed, but they're mere months away from their more normal lives.
Right.
And so Ben's like, I'm just a guy from the suburbs who likes frozen burritos from 7-Eleven and goes to see Dave Matthews Band, even though I don't like Dave Matthews Band that much.
Who among us?
Relatable.
Who among us? And even just like the detail, like learning that he only ended up at this school with this gym teacher job and the soccer coach job because,
ACL.
he tore up his knee.
He had
More
student
knee,
loans.
a lot of foot stuff so far this season and a lot of knee injury stuff, but he's like,
And
I
he
needed
has-
to pay off my loans.
He has student loans. So, coach and commentary on America.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah, indeed. The path to the wilderness. But like on the one hand, it's interesting to learn more about him, even though the Paul visions last season ended up being this kind of alternate path, this choice he didn't make.
Right.
It's another way for the show to reinforce to us like these little, just the butterfly effect, right? A little thing happens in your life or a big thing. If you thought you were going to like play professional soccer or something and you tore up your knee, and I can't speak to Ben's the prowess as a soccer
before the
player,
ACL
but he
tear.
certainly seems to think that he had a different path ahead of him had he not torn his knee up.
Yeah.
Who can say? And, also like just that I feel, of course, he's taken captive by the whole squad at the end. But whenever we learn more stuff about people like this, I'm always like, you're back on the clock. Like it just felt like here before he was taken captive, you're back on the clock. Like you're reflecting, you're talking about your prior life.
Oh yeah, Ben. Well, also
Worrying.
you've been reading a lot of Fourth Wing recently. That's a Rebecca Yarrow special. Okay. Mari and Ben both, right? Because Mari then talks about watching Eureka's Castle. She just said the
shout
thing
out
with
Eureka's Castle.
She said
We
the-
knew.
We knew.
We knew.
She said the Pups and the Dragons, and you and I both were
Magellan,
like,
we knew.
it's Eureka's Castle. Eureka's Castle. That show had a banging theme music.
Oh yeah.
Eureka's Castle. This is like the perfect show to pull up. Eureka's Castle, in terms of like a show you would watch in the hospital, because Mari is a little older than I am, but like Eureka's Castle and Maya the Bee and David the Gnome were all shows that I only ever watched if I went to the dentist.
Oh, interesting.
Because I was not home when they were on. I was in school. But if I was out of school and at the dentist or I was having a sick day, I got to watch David the Gnome or Maya the Bee or Eureka's Castle. So there you go.
Were you a kid who like made an excuse to pretend you were sick to stay home and watch TV? I did this all the time when I was a kid.
I don't think when I was quite that young, but definitely when I was
doing
older.
it when I was older.
Oh, I
We were the
started doing it.
opposite,
Okay, yeah.
I've told you this before. I've definitely said this on a pod before, but I would put the thermometer in my lamp.
Yeah.
It's like, I feel like it should have been clear my fever wasn't that high, but everybody had a lot going on.
So Mari's watching Eureka's Castle.
Yep.
With her 4-year-old cousin who had brain cancer who died. And then Mari watched the conclusion of the episode in the waiting room while she's waiting for her parents. And she talks about this as like an idea of an inconceivably awful reality waiting just around the corner from our Dave Matthews Band Frozen Burrito normalcy. And she says, quote, I think maybe there are two versions of reality. Most of the time, the other one, the bad one, is just hiding or waiting, but it's all real. This is very Lynchian to me, very Twin Peaks, Black Lodge, very Blue Velvet, Till the Robins Come. Like very just like the awful truth is just right on the other side of the life that you're living. And at any second you can be tossed into this awful also reality. Not so reality, but also reality.
Yes.
You know? I put Blue Velvet in there for you because I know. I know you're a Blue Velvet sicko.
I am. I really am. This was such a fascinating scene.
Very deep from Mari.
Yeah. And I thought it was fascinating for
our new
both.
favorite character.
What a fucking twist.
I know.
This is my version of Coach Ben asking how the fuck is any of this real? Is it real? Is us saying we like Mari.
Right. Because I skipped over the like eerie eldritch screeching that preceded this. But like, this is what you can do in a writer's room. In the span of 3 episodes is turn us around entirely on a character. Mari, our most hated. Now, perhaps our most beloved.
Protect Mari at all costs.
Protect Mari. Keep Mari out of the pit.
Jeez.
There's a new girl who's very pit forward, in my view.
For sure.
I'm not talking about Jen, but you know who I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah. We even got the like, you stand guard.
Yeah. You, future pit girl, stand guard.
Yeah.
I mean, it probably will be Mari after all this, but you know.
Now I want to wait for it to be Mari though. It still should eventually be Mari, but I want more time with this like comedy gold.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
So a few thoughts on this stretch from both the Ben and Mari perspectives. I thought from Ben, like when he's asking, as you're noting that is this real? The sounds kick into play again. Not for the last time in this episode. We're gonna get them. We'll talk about that later. Mari's nodding.
For you.
Saying yes. Freaky. So that is like a very anybody would be freaked out. It's very loud. It's very scary. It's a very unsettling. What would it feel like to be hiding in a cave and hearing that? Horrifying. But still, like, we, of course, should remember that Coach Scott, of all of there's always an explanation. It could be coincidence. It's not supernatural. You guys need to, like, look for the logical path here. He was the staunchest. And so even just hearing him ask out loud, is it real? Felt like, in a very, like, losty way, the journey for the man of science archetype.
Yeah, it's almost like being in a cave in close proximity to
poison gas. Will have some impact on you.
Yeah, man of science, man of faith journey for Ben.
Yeah,
I think that's a great call.
Again, I loved what the theorizing last week about, is somebody playing that this and the later moment in the episode both felt very targeted and specific. Is it the wilderness, the supernatural? Is it the cave and the poison gas, and they're having that shared dream and shared hallucination? Who knows?
The cue of, like, we don't have to do this, and then we hear the screaming. That
like
was
pushing them forward, like propelling them forward,
or discouraging, dissuading them. I couldn't tell. Which one was it?
Interesting. From Mari's perspective, there was something about her offering this up, and Ben was like, "Why are you telling me this?" Right? And the thing that she's saying is, like, it's not just, here, let me tell you the sad thing that happened to me. It's my cousin's heart stopped, and I went and watched a television episode instead of telling her parents, right? There's, like, this admission. And I was thinking back to, like, remember, it's very charming and light, and it's like an injection of really desperately needed, like, boisterous energy in season 1, that scene where they all go around and, like, confess something. That's actually, if it was also on my mind in this episode, because that's when Lottie's, like, talking about the shoplifting.
TJ Maxx.
Yeah,
for
TJ Bucks. Yeah, I got thousands of TJ Bucks. But this felt like an unburdening, like a last confession before you think you're gonna die. Like, that, it had that kind of just heavy, somber energy. And then the thing that she said about two versions of reality and just hiding or waiting, but it's all real. I love that Lynchian framing. That feels really right to me, and like the thing the show is trying to do. I also, of course, couldn't help but think of, this is just really upside downy, and a more, like, if the more literal version of that is very upside downy, and then what is the upside down and Stranger Things influenced by, like, there's that great Dustin Veil of Shadows D&D. If you haven't yet watched Ringer Quest, by the time you hear this, it's up. It's waiting for you. Check it out. What a time that was. A dimension that is a dark reflection or echo of our world. It is a place of decay and death, a plane out of phase, a place of monsters. It is right next to you, and you do not even see it. Talking about Shadowfell from D&D. So, like, do you think there is a version of the show where this is literal?
No.
Or do you think this is all?
I think what my interpretation is that what she's saying, what they're saying inside of this conversation is, like, the version of them that hunt and eat and kill people is so much closer than the version of you that just eats microwave burritos and goes to a Dave Matthews Band concert.
Than you think. Yeah.
It's just, like, right around the corner, and it just takes this much to push you over into that, you know? And we all like to think,
right,
like, I simply wouldn't eat a friend, but, like,
for me.
But
for me,
what this show presupposes is perhaps
what if
you
would?
Yeah.
What if you would? Yeah, I think so too. And I like the way that the show, in that sense, it fits and feels like a very natural clicking of a puzzle piece with how the show is always engaged with this idea of, like, doubles and pairs and versions of yourself. Like, even just the inherent structure of the show with young you and old you, but then you think of, like, dark tie, right? This, like, version of you that is waiting inside. And then we have moments with other characters where, like, wait, are they going to do that with another character? Right. No, it's not about, like, literally, are you also a sleepwalker? It's like everybody has this thing lurking inside of them, waiting to break free. Again, very Lord of the Fliesy, right?
Yeah.
The devil inside of man.
We talk about Lost all the time, but I mean, Lord of the Flies is, of course,
incredible.
The real inspo.
You're going on the record. You don't think they're doing the darkest timeline from Community, and that's not why Joel McHale has been cast.
No, but they are doing the gas leak here, which is perhaps why Joel McHale has been cast. All right, Shauna and Mel, just really quick interlude. We get stock much. Which, okay, so another critique I saw that I thought was interesting of from critical opinions of this season was that there was too much disconnect between the present day storyline and the 1997 storyline. Whereas in previous seasons, especially, I mean, I think we all agree that season 1 was perhaps the most successful version of the show.
Yeah.
But like,
Definitely.
that there was, as there is in Lost, more story connective tissue between the flashbacks that you're seeing and the present day that you're seeing.
Yeah.
I don't feel it's connected because I just feel like I'm always learning more about who these women are and how Shauna became the way she became and all that sort of stuff. But this is like a really funny actual bridge. Stock much as we're sitting here at home saying like, is that Melissa stalking Shauna in the present day storyline?
Well, so do you think this is an actual clue or a misdirect? Where are you right now? You lean misdirect still?
I think it's important that each of us have a different stance.
Yeah.
So your team, this is it, and I'm
think
team,
so.
this is a misdirect.
Yeah, but
Okay.
I will not at all be disappointed or surprised if it's a misdirect. So
Guess what?
I like that it feels like it could be
We
either.
like to hold things loosely here on House of R. Hold your theories
Hold
loosely.
your bat demon hand loosely. Because if you hold it too tightly, it'll crumble in your hand. It's just...
Shauna tells Melissa that she can stay, and then they just have like lingering, prolonged eye contact.
This is like fuck me eyes central here. We
Yes.
were robbed. We were robbed of this
I'm
scene.
into this.
Like, oh yeah.
I'm
Oh, my
really
God.
into this.
More of them should be fucking each other, I think, at this point.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This
There's not a lot to do out there.
I mean, this was the refrain on Lost. Why aren't more people fucking on this island, right? Travis has already fucked 2.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he's got a few more to
and
go.
He kissed a bunch of people, and I think there was a little bit of there was some
orgy-ish.
There were some
shenanigans.
some dick in mouth happening, and Doom coming there as well on the chair.
Yeah.
If you rewatch that sequence closely. But yeah,
Which Mallory has.
if you did, he's making his way around for sure.
But we don't need to be
everybody should
heteronormative
pairing
because,
off
like,
and thruppling off. And, I mean,
do what moves you.
That they're relatively
Except
speaking
for
right now.
Ben, what does Ben say? I would rather push something very dull
through his eye, and then he specifies all the way to the back of his skull, like not just in, all the way
before
to the back
he
of his
touched
skull.
Mari. Okay,
Tough beat there for Mari.
Let's go to the Coach Ben hunting party starring Shauna, Van, and Akila.
Mm-hmm.
So Mari returns.
Yeah, real cock block. Back to being out on Mari.
Is
Shauna
it-
and Mel were
No.
ready to fuck in this.
I'm still in on Mari. Is it Misty who says that thank God or thank the dirt or whatever?
Wonderful stuff.
Wonderful.
Dude.
No.
Dude, Shauna's like, where were you when Mari says, I walked back to civilization so I could fuck your dad.
Because Mari's the greatest character. Further proof. I thought I was going to die there
my
like
God.
baby Jessica.
Yeah, this was
Baby
hilarious.
Jessica didn't die, and that was a well. A well's a hole.
She's not wrong. She's not wrong.
Baby Jessica, for our younger listeners,
my
is something that
God.
happened in 1987. National news, if not international. Probably just national. Okay. Mari narcs on Ben pretty quickly, but she does
Yeah.
seem like she's about to offer some sort of like feeble defense of him before she gets cut off.
Yeah.
So, like-
yeah, she had like a moment of,
Yeah.
all right, he let me go. Should I protect him or at least
Yeah.
try to spare him? But
She's like, but,
she
and
gave
then
up pretty quickly.
Yeah, and then it was like Van who's like, this fucker, blah, blah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Shauna,
Yes.
ever her eye on the prize, I believe, sees a leadership opportunity. And she's going to step right in. She's going to be like, I'm going to hunt this dude right now. Nat, you got a problem with that? Why would you have a problem with that, Nat? Seems like you'd want to capture Coach Ben.
So I had a moment when Mari came back so quickly that I was like, wow, they really teased us with the promise of a young Misty, young Shauna were in cahoots trying to do a coup on Nat. And then like it didn't do it, but it paid off there.
it's
Because
here.
and it's actually like, I mean, it still could be a more active pursuit after they tie up Ben based
all
on
the,
how
like-
Nat wants to conduct that.
Of
But
all the stupid things I
subtler.
said that you've adopted, do a coup is my favorite because I love saying that.
it's wonderful. And then it also was part of you leading me to the great.
Yeah.
So a program I'm very fond of. Yeah. And so it really stuck. It really stuck. But yeah, I liked this actually like subtler impact that Misty had on Shauna, you gave me this little kernel of intel and now I can weaponize it. And Nat is, I mean, boy, Nat is like, you can see and feel and hear the wheels turning in Nat's head over how to play this here at camp when they get to the mouth of the cave, when they get to the fork inside of the cave, when they find Ben. It's like Nat is at war with herself here. This is like, we don't need, I will promise from me to you and to the Bad Babies is I won't spend all season being like, oh, I'm really just so sad we don't have Nat in the modern timeline, because I understand. Like, Juliette Lewis did not want to be on the show anymore. She's not on the show anymore. Things like this happen. But I really feel like you can, when stuff like this happens and everything that's happened with young Nat, Nat feels like so central to the end game for me in terms of the characters they're most interested in. And it just is a bummer that we're not going to get to see where that went.
Should they have sent Juliette Lewis, should they have sent Nat to rehab? And just given Juliette Lewis a couple seasons.
Or just done like, you thought it was weird when we recast Akilah and Jen, who had 3 lines previously. Well, we recast adult Nat after one of the 4 most prominent
Juliette Lewis, one of the main draws of the original cast, is gone. And don't worry about it. Hilary Swank is here. Okay.
I mean, Sophie is like such a entrenched star now at this point. Do some like old age makeup.
Yeah.
Why not?
That'll be fine.
And everybody else is played by a different performer.
That'll be completely fine.
No.
Okay. After Lottie tries to get Akilah to stay back from the Ben hunt, and Akilah's like, no, thank you.
So, like, I thought this was really interesting.
Did you?
Yeah, because, I mean, obviously we talked about the Lottie portion of it last week, but so Lottie says, Akilah says, I'm sorry, I'm good. And then Lottie says, after all this, you still don't believe, which I thought was weird because Akilah was like
in the cult,
in Team Lottie. And then I was like, well, I wonder how much of this is because maybe a questioning or second guessing, a need to distance herself from this experience after like what happened with Nugget and like feeling how she had gotten sucked in to
also the birthing.
Yes.
Her involvement in that.
All of that. But then there were a couple Akilah things that happened later, which I can wait to hit till we get to in sequence. But like what I ended up feeling at the end of the episode is that she's actually like, oh, maybe it is me. And she's processing in real time.
I mean, you can't ignore the signs when you get a slap bracelet of doom affixed to you by a previous queen. You know what I mean?
If the slap bracelet went on perfectly for you and then sliced through the arm of the person next to you and then the throat of the person on the other side of you, you would also leave saying, I have been chosen.
Yeah.
Did you like a slap bracelet when you were younger?
Loved a slap bracelet.
Same. I actually have one still.
Of all the things to get in like a birthday party gift bag, a slap bracelet is like top tier.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful stuff. I feel like those and like gel pens had to have them.
Did you ever slap bracelet
Trapper
yourself
keepers?
like so often that you like sort of
had like a welt?
chafed and bruised your wrist?
Should we get some and bring some in?
Yes. I think we should get we should get our first piece of
John, get on it.
Yeah. Our first piece of Bad Baby merch. They've been clamoring for it. It's gonna be slap bracelets.
I feel like people would honestly be thrilled with the House of Our slap bracelet. It also I know we're in a completely different part of the episode now, but I was like, what is on that? This is again where we issue the
symbol.
But it was a little different. It was like the geometry.
I thought it was just like repeated like a piece of wallpaper would be.
So but it reminded me also of, in addition to like the shapes inside of the symbol, it reminded me of Adam's back tattoo. And always on my mind.
You're desperate for that back tattoo.
Or not.
You're desperate for that tattoo to matter.
Sure, hold him loosely. You can't cheese grade away that theory. Nope. And also, like, not for all of us. Not for me. The drawings, all of Javi's drawings that Ben found and was like thumbing through, there were a lot of those like triangular and circular shapes, and also some of that circular imagery made its way into like the drawings on Sammy's window. So like that visual motif repeating. Always fascinating.
I really did think we had let Adam's back tattoo go.
Absolutely. Come on.
Never.
He's always on my mind.
What I think is interesting
would you have gone right away? Because Shauna's like, we can't let him move, which is smart. But it is also the dead of night.
Would
you have gone right away?
Let me tell you something that's true about me.
Yeah.
In most, let's go do something, I'll be like, I'll tend the fire until you get back.
This is also where I
Unless
am.
they all go, and then I'm like, don't leave me alone here and with
Lottie.
with Travis and Lottie, who are just brewing up more mushroom tea. Travis looks so upset. Don't leave me here.
Man.
So I would probably be like, I'm fine, and then enough people would go that I'd be like, actually, I'll go.
I can assure you I would not have gone into I might have accompanied them to the mouth of the cave, but I would not have gone into the cave.
Oh, you know I'm not. You know
You're
I'm
not going
standing
into a
watch.
crevice. You're not going into a crevice.
This is one of the worst TV crevice experiences I've ever had.
Mere steps in, you have to crouch, and there's water. No.
Okay.
The second the flame goes out, you turn around.
Absolutely. Skittering. Eldritch screaming. Crevices.
Yeah, it's a no.
Dank.
No. Can't have it.
Mari level auditory hallucination dripping. No. Potential juicy bats around every corner.
No, absolutely not.
No.
And while they invoke,
and poison gas.
Yeah, poison, right. And poison gas on top of it all. Absolutely not. Also, as he refers to himself, like a one-legged man waiting in the shadows to potentially pounce and attack.
Or save you.
Or save you. While
can't pounce. Give him a break.
Or spray. While Misty and Mel team up to invoke Princess Bride. That was really funny.
Yeah.
Nobody, Joanna. Now, granted, the films have not come out at this point, but like, do we not read? Nobody invokes Gandalf and following your nose.
Okay. Follow-up question. Do you, Mallory Rubin?
Yeah.
Whomst among the Yellowjackets it's the mid-90s.
Yeah. Yes.
Who's reading Lord of the Rings?
For sure, Shauna. No question.
Yes.
She's like very studious. Shauna got into Brown.
Yeah.
Misty?
No.
No?
No.
Not enough musicals? There are original songs.
No.
Certainly not Jackie.
No.
Definitely not Jeff.
No.
Randy? No, I'm kidding. Dude, no Jeff, Randy, or Walter in this episode, I have to say was a bummer.
Mal only likes stories about dudes.
I hate women. Sorry. I should be more embarrassed that I'm like, where's Jeff anytime he's not in a Yellowjackets episode? But guess what? I'm not.
My heart calls out for Walter.
Yeah.
I think maybe Shauna would be the only one, and she's not in the mood. She's a leader. What she does have time for is to give Mari wildly uncharacteristic support.
Okay. What did you make of this?
I thought this was a leadership bid.
You thought this was pure tactics. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that's like the cold calculus. I think that's right. I also loved there's like little moments like this on the show, I think, do a really good job of reminding us that, and this is actually on my mind in general with what you were saying a few minutes ago about how often do the two timelines feel like they directly are in conversation with each other. And we discussed this a lot in season 2 where I felt like if there were moments where that was not the case. Part of what is always happening in this show is that the characters are moving in and out of faith or a detachment
Leadership
from faith,
or following.
in and out of, yeah. So like when even if that is like a naked play from Shauna, it still reminds us that the alliances can shift with the need of the moment. And there is a path where like Shauna brings Mari into the fold if it helps her, which seemed impossible.
I am currently covering
half an episode ago.
Severance, White Lotus,
yes,
and Yellowjackets.
A normal headspace to occupy.
My noodle is so cooked. And I was just like, because I was just writing some White Lotus notes about shifting alliances and pacts and stuff like that. And I'm always talking about lost references on Severance, and here we are. But yeah, this is like a very survivor mentality of like where the alliances are shifting.
Yeah.
Shift or die, right?
Yes,
okay.
exactly.
We talked about this before. Okay.
This was also like on the Aquila front. Because Nat tries to like stop them. Like, what did you think we were going to do?
And Aquila's like, we got to go.
Right. And she's like, I know I'm right.
Yeah, not even with any uncertainty. She's just like, we got to go.
Yeah. Drinking the Lottie Kool-Aid a little bit.
That fucking fern crown. I'm telling you, it was something to be scared of.
And then when they say like, when Nat says about the paths, like maybe that just collapsed. Maybe it wasn't Ben. Aquila's like, I don't think so.
Well, I also don't think so because those rocks were in like clear formation. And also, did Ben recently concussed Ben do that? I mean, we don't know how long it took Mari to hobble back to camp, but
True. Yeah.
Ben building a rock wall in
try
the
to
mouth
block
of
them.
the cave.
Yeah.
I
mean,
have some questions.
he managed to get all of the
supplies.
Yeah, supplies there.
Yeah.
Maybe he used the same like rope system. I don't know.
Stacking rocks with
Okay. Drag them, stack them, put them in a stew. Oh God.
This is our
That was beautiful. We podcast
6th
together a lot.
podcast together in 4 days.
Oh man.
All right. So Keela, Vanna, and Shauna go through a path that is
a path that we would never walk down, and we just want to just say that one more time.
I would certainly never crawl, nor would I shimmy, nor any. When Van's like, this is obviously not the way, I'd be like, yep. Actually, I wouldn't say yep because I wouldn't be there in the first place. No. I'm standing guard with new pit girl outside.
I don't even like to go to the front door to pick up the Postmates. I am just fucking not going into the cave. There's no chance.
We get 3 individual dreams and then potentially a shared dream. We have yet to sort of assess the shared dream, but each dream is marked by a different element. Van's dream is fire.
Yes.
So she goes through it. So here's my plausible explanation for what happens.
Okay.
The 3 of them go into that chamber where they're like, oh, and Shauna's lantern's already out, and then Van's lantern goes and then out. But when she's like, Shauna, Akila, I feel like they're on the ground. That Shauna has dropped, and Akila has dropped, and Van's the last Yellowjacket standing.
Yeah.
And then she drops.
Yes.
And then she's walking around and she sees a door in the rock wall.
Yeah.
Very Alice in Wonderland to me.
Certainly had a on the is there actually some sort of alternate dimension or like a portal? This had a real portal dimension feel to it. It also just reminded me again of a television program that I don't know. This might actually be the first time we've brought it up when talking about Yellowjackets. Lost.
Oh. Lost?
Of all the Dharma stations, like this had a real Ethan, Claire, maternity leave, like didn't it, walking and finding and here's a thing and what awaits and like
Ethan Rome.
Yeah, the Claire Kate Rousseau like discovery of what I don't know. It just had such a secret Dharma station feel to me. The door.
She walks into a cabin.
Yes.
I'm once again going to invoke the Black Lodge from Twin Peaks, the hunting cabin, Coach Ben's hallucinatory cabin, Jacob's cabin from Lost.
Yeah.
But of all those illusions, the music is very Twin Peaks here. The music cue that hits here is some of the peaksiest stuff we've heard on the show. Perhaps not since we saw Misty like in the Red Room last season, essentially. Have we hit something like that? She's in a rocking chair. We get the flames in her eyes. And then we're going to cut to other dreams. But eventually the rocking chair becomes a plane seat. And we see arms that seemingly belong to Jackie and Shauna based on sleeves.
Yeah.
And then also there seems to be a man's arm in plaid, which I'm going to say cabin man, perhaps. And then I think Ty's hand, because we get a mitten hand. I Googled the mittens on the girls and I was really trying to match them. And I think it's the first hand around her, I think is Ty's. Holding her down. Shauna and Jackie, of course, make the most sense because when Van was trapped in the plane and there was a fire, the original sin of them not rescuing her.
Yeah.
So originally I was just like, oh, it's just Shauna and Jackie.
Right.
But then I was like, no, that's a dude's arm in one of the plaid arms. And then the mittened arm was like another one entirely. So yeah.
Interesting. I thought, so the initial escaping from the wreckage after the crash, like thinking about Van in that moment when Jackie like leaves her, right? Chooses to save Shauna, pushes Shauna out of the plane, leaving Van to burn alive and die. And Van reminds Jackie of this many times after managing to escape.
The first one when she pops out of the plane and she's like smoking and she just looks at them.
So good.
Oh, Liv Hewson.
That is not the only time that Van nearly burned alive on the show. Like she was put on her own funeral pyre by Ty and the others when they were trying to look for a way out of this hell, because they thought, frankly, reasonably, maybe check for a pulse, but frankly, reasonably, because she had been mauled by a wolf. Van had been mauled by a wolf. It was totally reasonable to think she had died.
This isn't like a Denethor situation. This is like a clear mauling has occurred.
Like you can see teeth and bone.
Yeah.
And she is there. They light her on fire, and then they have to like kick her off and roll her off. And that was one of her like, "What are you glimpsing?" You know, when you're that close to death moments and the colors, and ooh, are we seeing like a shade? Okay, so not only is there this direct association between Van and fire and death, we talked about this last week actually, but like Van has invoked this idea directly to Ty on the show, like, why did I keep surviving?
Yes.
Like, what was that for?
Right.
What is my purpose? And so this is actually actively on her mind. And so I thought this was fascinating to see her in this circumstance.
What I love about that with the Van character, because it could apply to all of them, this idea of survivor's guilt.
Yeah.
Why me and not? Why did I survive the crash and not anyone else in the crash? Why did I survive the wilderness and not anyone else in the wilderness? So that could apply to all of them. To give Van this more extreme, burnt, mauled, burnt again, cancer journey, to give her this more extreme, why me? So I have to make it mean something.
Right.
It has to mean something that I survived. Aquila.
Yes.
Earth.
Dude, this was like real, like, it's bong once stuff here from Aquila. Like, you get high and then you're just talking to a llama. Like,
is it a llama or an alpaca?
Is it an alpaca?
I think it's an alpaca.
You get high once and you're just talking to an alpaca.
Is it foie gras? I'm not sure. Shoving the blackberries in her mouth, gorging. Yeah.
Were you relieved that this was not a talking Mortimer? Or do you feel cheated and wrong because this was not a talking Mortimer? Me too.
Also, I did not double check the closing credits, but I'm curious who was voicing this.
Oh, interesting.
Alpaca, because it's not a voice that is recognizable to us. But it was a very like, hey, I'm an alpaca sort of thing.
Everything with teeth bites. Everything will defend itself. They're calling you.
Seemingly the trees. And those upshot of the trees sort of blowing, that's a classic Twin Peaks visual. Eating fruit in the underworld, I simply wouldn't.
Couldn't be me.
Not even once.
Couldn't be me.
Not one kernel of a pomegranate, not one blackberry off the bush.
Oh, boy.
Okay. Marking Aquila for death or for greatness, queenitude, we shall see. And then we get her sinking down into the ground via these vines.
Okay, so interesting question, because she is paired here with two people who we know survive.
Yeah.
Like the other two people who are having this experience, they make it.
Yeah.
Does that change? Does that influence what you think about Aquila's likelihood of getting out?
I don't know. We should note that an actress, Evans Johnson, has been cast this season in an adult role. She doesn't necessarily, to me, look stunningly like Aquila, but not every adult version does necessarily. But that is a possibility that Aquila is also a survivor. But that would imply something supernatural going on, and I don't know if they're leaning towards just like gas leak here, you know? Shauna's dream.
Bigger bathtub!
Water. She's dressed like Lottie when Lottie was baptized by Laura Lee in the lake in season 1. She's not wearing what she wore in the lake. She's wearing what Lottie wore.
Yes.
And then we got that vision from Lottie when she's like walking through the hallways and then there's all the candles and all of that.
Our studio has been modeled after.
John has recreated
such a chill, calm moment.
And she's swimming and she's swimming and she can't get to her son.
Dude.
This blondie looks like Aaron from Lost, a boy on the shore. This was crushing.
This was
and
heavy and
the,
really hard.
Dream logic. Like a talking alpaca is one thing, and a chair that turns into a plane seat where arms are holding you down and you burn. Yeah. That's all. This was like you're swimming and you're swimming and you're swimming and you're going nowhere was such good, horrible, horrifying dream logic. I really loved this.
Yeah. And also like Van's circumstances are about escaping something. And Akila's there was this like harbinger, right? Kind of like be on guard, but also be prepared to like open yourself to a possibility, right? It can be easier, it can be hard, but either way, it's going to get what it wants. Shauna's was that stuck in place and then pulled under idea. She is looking towards something impossible. She's the only one who's looking towards something impossible,
that's devastating.
right? Something that she cannot have, which is the child she has already lost, who in this version that she's seeing and hearing is older than he would have been if he had survived. Like, it was just so heartbreaking.
And like blonde like Jeff.
Blonde like Jeff.
Yeah.
Really, really, really devastating. This was sad.
Then we get the communal dream question mark.
I mean, even when you're in the fucking wilderness and you're eating your friends,
You're gonna have a school dream.
you're having a dream about class.
You're having Rob Mahoney's anxiety
this
dream.
is like Rob's worst fucking nightmare. Even when actual horrors are unfolding around you, you can't escape the question of whether you're prepared for your test.
Tonnage of emails we got. This is from a Severance podcast reference. The sheer tonnage of emails we got from people being like, I've had that exact dream that Rob had is like incredible. Okay, so does the door look like it belongs in Lottie's baptism vision, like the concrete walls, or is it just meant to invoke classroom? Is it just generic classroom?
That's a good question.
Okay.
I don't know, because it's certainly when Lottie was walking through the hallway and the candles, like it definitely felt like they were in their school.
Oh, is that what it felt like to you?
Yeah, it did. Especially because like that was near
That's because when Lottie is
moving
walking
toward the reunion stretch. So like
when Lottie was walking through, from my memory is that was our earliest, like, is there an underground bunker on this not island?
Yeah.
Because
it always
it
looks like the
seems
school to me.
Oh, okay, interesting. Okay, so Lottie shows
Lottie's
up
always in the school or in the mall.
Lottie shows up as the teacher. She's written a quote on the board of all the ways to lose a person. Death is the kindness. This is a Ralph Waldo Emerson quote. And then Akila asks if she's in Van and Shauna's dream or if they're in hers. And there's only one dream as the fucking Aussie ice cream guy wheels an airplane snack cart past the doorway. So like if we are trying to encourage a version of this story where there's a plausible explanation for things and the reason that Ty saw and we're going to get to this fucking Aussie ice cream mascot as if I know why Aussies went out of business. It's because an eyeless man was their mascot. But anyway.
Though, I mean, unless there's just absolutely like no market for that plot of land, it seems like it's pretty picked. I guess it went out of business long enough ago to be a complete hellscape for a horror movie, but also not so long ago that wouldn't have been bulldozed by now. I don't know.
When nobody came and claimed that haunted trike. I mean, it's possible that, let's say Akila's dreaming here.
Yeah.
If we want to go like plausible explanation, because I'm gonna be curious if Shauna and Van say I had that dream too.
Right.
We don't know if it's everyone's dream or if it's just Akila's dream. Let's say it's Akila's dream because it seems the most from her point of view.
Oh, interesting.
She could also. Oh, did it not seem like the most from her point of view?
I feel like if I had to pick, that's a really good question. I wasn't thinking about that. Like, I definitely feel while I'm watching it in real time, it's this person. But now thinking back, like,
who wakes up from it? Shauna, right?
And just Jackie's role in it just makes me feel like a Shauna.
Good old Snacky. I was delighted to see her. I love Jackie.
I want Jackie to remain on the show in some form, and like this is like the perfect kind of sprinkling. Those just little Jackie sprinkles, whatever's left.
A little cheese grating, a little parm grate of Jackie over to season the plate.
This was great. Yeah.
Jackie, great stuff. Slap bracelet, as we already mentioned, great stuff. But let's say plausible explanation. Let's say it's Shauna's dream.
Yeah. Any of them could have seen the same commercial when they were kids.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Shauna may also have watched Pee-wee's Playhouse and watched the Aussie commercials as a kid. Lottie tells Akila to help Shauna.
You have to, or she'll die.
We'll all die. That's why it feels like it's Akila's dream to me. But then Shauna seems like she wakes up from it. Ben has rescued the three girls from the gas.
He deserves to die. Sorry.
Let them rot.
He deserves to die. I don't want him to, but
you would have let them rot?
If it were me, I would have let them rot. No, like he was so sure that it was the second that Mari fell into his pit that he could not allow her to escape and go back and tell them where he was because he knew what they would do to him. And guess what? He thought that for a reason.
Yeah.
And he let her go anyway. And he's too soft to live. He's too soft to survive. He is. Question. The opening credits, which there are of the images we have not seen.
In the words of The Cure, cold, Mallory.
I really like he's actually one of my favorite characters. So I think the performance is fantastic, and I hope he survives this and somehow manages to make it out and stays on the show. But this is a miscalculation. He knew his enemy, and he quite literally fell into their trap anyway because he has a heart and empathy and is still a nurturing person. Can't allow yourself to make that mistake if you want to survive. Sorry. I'm sorry.
Mallory, do you feel like you're the kind of person who would have broken Allie's leg on the field in the first episode?
I sent a girl to the hospital once playing indoor soccer. Not on purpose, though. I did kick her in the face and she had to go to the hospital. But I felt bad about it. Not bad enough to check in after. I'm realizing right now, years later.
What's her name?
No idea. She wasn't on my team.
Oh, she's on the other team.
She was on the other team.
Did you go home and watch Eureka's Cats?
Probably, honestly. Yeah, I was like, I should not be allowed, as you know, to engage in competitive pursuits with other people.
And by competitive pursuits, you mean surviving in the wilderness.
I think it's more like that I was just pretty bad at soccer and accidentally kicked someone in the face and hurt them than that I meant to. Let's go with that. Opening credits. We see a lot of like an upside down, and I will have to look back, but like screaming man face, dangling man. We also see this overhead shot
of the plank?
Of the planks. Are they making a coffin to are they gonna
burn him?
Or just keep him in there alive? Like in a coffin, like in a crate.
Or what if they put it in the coffin and then they burn it because they're like, this is what it was like for us trapped in that house. Cool story. All right.
And then they eat him even though they don't have to because they have
they're
food.
Definitely going to eat him.
Yeah.
That roast man flesh. Do you ever do things and think about how they'll be on the internet and you regret them? Okay, Misty and Shauna in the present day.
Misty and Shauna in the present day.
An incredible as ever sequence of Misty's light patient abuse during the phone call.
Dude. Oh my God.
This is something we're deprived of in season 2 is Misty at work because it's always a delight, honestly.
My God. Okay. Obviously, nothing can ever quite match the highs of Misty and Gloria.
And the morphine.
Just we're dealing with a
deranged
person, as Shauna will shortly invoke. But the little touches here, just you got your AirPods in and you're walking around at your job having this conversation right away, just shocking stuff. Misty could not give less of a shit whether they take their medicine. The way that she's just putting the pills down on the rocking, swaying armchair, not stopping to see if they're taken, not stopping to see if they fall over.
But stopping. To make sure to end the chess game.
Checkmate.
Yeah. Checkmate, bitches. All right. So they have this whole conversation. She bamboozles Shauna into scones. Feeds her a bunch of bullshit about how she had to handle the situation at the sleepover.
I didn't screw up. I was being strategic. How? By losing consciousness?
This is a very, she's trying to prove Walter wrong. I do have a connection with Shauna. Shauna is my friend. We can have scones. She does want me to follow her on all of her errands to get gift baskets and go to the podiatrist, et cetera, et cetera. She
doesn't.
didn't.
She doesn't.
Okay, but here's my question.
Yes.
Shauna's like, oh, I can't hang out with you. I got to go get gift baskets for the, quote, fancy idiots,
the Joels.
a.k.a. the Joels.
Yeah.
The fact that they're still in the conversation lends more credence, I think, to the idea that one of them, Nathan, not Joel, has, a bigger role to play.
Yeah.
Or is this plotline just here to drive a wedge between Jeff and Shauna? Because Jeff is, still salty about the Joels.
Why not both?
Why not both? It really did. That Nathan guy just, gave
You're
me...
on to him. Yeah.
I don't know if I'm on to him, but
who was Tyler? They got up. Joel and Nathan got up. Oh, Tyler.
Exactly.
Who's Tyler? Who the fuck is Tyler?
Who the fuck is Tyler? But also, why were they interrogating her about the phone the way that they were?
And what happened in the bathroom?
Yeah.
Where were you?
Not just that she was using her phone. What happened up there? What were you doing to the bartender?
What happened in there? I broke my rule and had heavy whipping cream instead of oat milk out in the wild. That's what happened in there, Joel.
interrogate anyone, let alone a woman, about why she took so long in the bathroom. Because I put heavy whipped cream in my coffee. Okay.
That's actually gentler on the stomach than half and half. Fun fact. My stepmom put me onto that.
That is a fun fact.
Yeah. I don't know if it's true, but it's our family headcanon.
I don't know if it's a true fact, but it is a fun fact. And that's all you promised. Okay, Mallory.
Yes.
If you went to a tapas dinner with someone and they absolutely eviscerated you, emasculated you in every sense possible, like reduced you to rubble, what kind of gift basket would it take to get you back on board?
What a great question.
I have a pitch.
Hit me.
More candy than you think it's conceivable that a human adult could eat.
But here's the thing. Because here's what
you can buy your own candy.
I have it already. Yeah. Like,
definitely not the giant jar of bubble gum, because
you and Steve have the pleasure / deep misfortune of being on a text thread with me where we mostly send each other pictures of our cats. I would say it's like 80% that, and then 20% me texting you guys about the candy I bought.
No. It's 10% the candy, and then the other 10% is when you DoorDash McDonald's and you plate it.
It's like 7% that, 3% the home state pictures that we send each other.
The home state pictures.
We do always send each other
no free hats.
No, but if they want to get in and sponsor the podcast, we are prepared to tell you our exact orders, and we do have those committed to memory. Don't mess with Texas. Queso, little guac. I'm like, my first thought was some Sour Patch watermelons, some Funyuns, some Flamin' Hot Cheetos, but that's just what's in my kitchen right now.
Yeah. Okay, so maybe it would need to be like foods from around the world. What if someone sent you like a Maryland basket?
Yeah.
Stuff you can't I know you can Goldbelly things, but stuff that you can't like easily get.
Yeah, some Utz crab chips, some Otterbein cookies, some burger cookies. Yeah, I'm into this.
Okay.
I'm into this. I don't know if I want to associate my favorite foods with Joel and Nathan.
But would semi-hard cheeses?
I do love a cheese.
Well, it's not a Joel and Nathan, it's a Shauna. It's a Shauna needing to ply you with a gift basket.
I wouldn't eat anything Shauna gave me.
Not even chocolate chips?
No, certainly not.
Okay.
Certainly not. What about you? What would you need to receive to be wooed?
Oh, God, what a great question. I don't have a great answer
Let's
for
see.
you.
Plums with which you can make a barbecue sauce.
Oh.
That's it.
Okay. Don't send me plums. You can send me tequila and Granny Smith apples.
You love a mead?
I do love a mead.
No, I'm not going to encourage people to get you Granny Smith apples. No. Come on.
Okay.
Come on.
Misty and Shauna are not, alas, Thelma and Louise, even though Misty would like them to be as they're driving around.
Do you think Misty has seen the movie and knows how it ends?
100%. She's into it.
It's disturbing.
The brakes don't work on the minivan.
Yeah. Yep.
To the tune of Nookie by Limp Bizkit.
One of the more puzzling needle drops in the history of the show.
From 1999, not even our like sweet spot of early mid-90s, we get Nookie by Limp Bizkit plays as the minivan goes careening up a grassy knoll.
Right.
Did this give Dharma Van vibes
Oh,
to
yeah,
you?
sure. Yeah.
We'll talk about that a little later on.
Yes.
Okay. Now listen, we know that Misty has done something very similar to Nat's car.
Yep. Pulled those wires right out of the Porsche.
Just to force proximity and friendship and stuff like that. But this is tough from Shauna. Shauna just like rips in to Misty. She blames Misty for the brakes, the phone in the bathroom, et cetera, all the stuff that we don't think Misty has done before listing a number of things that Misty did do, including, most horribly, quote, why carry around syringes of fatal fucking drugs?
Yeah.
Which, listen, Shauna, if I've killed a guy in season 1, back tattoo or no.
Yeah.
And Misty helped me.
She did.
Get rid of the body.
She did. Wasn't her fault that Nat didn't dig a deep enough grave.
I would personally not throw stones inside of this brakeless minivans at Misty. Calling her a psychopath, all this sort of stuff like that. Verified psycho, insane. The syringe, given that we saw Misty in episode 1, 7 shots of real whiskey into her night, sobbing in Walter's arms, talking about how it's her fault that Nat's dead. This is particularly horrible from Shauna.
Yeah. And I think even then, Misty is like, well, wait. And it's only when Shauna's like, get out, that Misty finally says, like, you're not what I deserve. And basically says what Walter was saying to her
I'm also
last
proud of
week.
her.
I was really proud of her too. But it did feel like invoking the syringe and what Misty had done to Nat and this thing that is causing her such severe pain.
Yeah.
That was when Misty could no longer deny the truth, right?
That Shauna sucks.
Shauna doesn't care about you at all.
I love Shauna, and she sucks.
Does not care about you at all. Uses you, and has never even had the decency to say thank you.
Misty calls Shauna by her maiden name.
Shipman.
Which we should note is also what it said on the envelope left on her door.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. On the Walter front.
Walter and a blonde wig front?
On the Walter and a blonde sure, why not? On the Walter and a blonde wig front. One thing that...
do you think Walter cut the brakes?
I think yes. I think I have two leading theories, and that's one of them. I like this idea because we talked about this last week. Like, was Walter going to try to bring Misty into a perilous situation so that they could have the trauma bond that Misty is so attached to with Shauna and the others? Or would he just try to eliminate Shauna? Both seem totally plausible to me as something that Walter would do. So this being a way that he would like try to eliminate Shauna, not realizing that Misty would end up in the van with her, feels totally imbalanced. And it's like,
but like,
Misty's
when would
signature move?
But when would he have cut the brakes? Because he would have to do it while they were eating the scones. Because Shauna drove and presumably hit the brakes when she parked at the scone shop.
I don't know. Maybe there's a way to compromise brakes where it's like a
slowly.
Yeah, I don't know. If
anyone knows how to do that, it's Walter. Slow drip of acid on the.
Yeah, he would know. He would definitely know.
Okay.
Walter using Misty's signature move, if it is in fact him, it's one more like
MFEO, made for each other.
Yeah, and just like when we were talking last week about
I didn't expect you to say yes.
yes. Has were they giving us the Walter that we wanted to see or had expected to see? The thing that did feel really right to me about where we found Walter last week, and this would fit into that, is like he's just he is Misty. Like he's too Misty now what Misty is to everybody else. And that feels really appropriate and like an interesting thing for her to have to confront and reckon with. The other theory other than Walter would be obviously whoever is watching Shauna leaving envelopes at her house and putting phones in the toilet next to her.
Et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Our last candidate, Lottie. Lottie, who's trying to sort of work her way into the affections of Callie. We'll get back to that in a second.
Yeah.
Misty not only slips on her Crocs, which is very sad. She didn't put them in sport mode. It was tough.
I love a Croc. Very comfortable.
She burns the group photo of the Yellowjackets that she had in her mantle.
Screamed at a small child. Let's scream at a small child.
Who among us?
In public.
Burns the group photo of the Yellowjackets.
Caligula.
Also yells at Caligula. But don't you think she looked at Caligula's cage and was like, on Wednesdays we clean it together? Okay, let's talk about Lottie and the Sudeikis.
Oh, man.
No Jeff, sad.
Quite sad.
Okay, we already talked about the pancake thing. Lottie says, quote, the 13th floor is a euphemism for the psych ward. And as far as I could tell from Googling, that is not usually the case. I found a Reddit thread where, like, because actually what's usually often the case in hospitals, similar to hotels, is they don't even have a 13th floor.
Oh, yeah.
Or they don't even have, like, a 13th room on a given floor because of the superstition thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I did find a Reddit thread where some people was like, in my hospital, the 13th floor is a psych ward. But it was only just like a few people. And it didn't seem to be a widespread sort of thing. So Lottie claims the 13th floor is a euphemism for the psych ward. Again, not as far as I can tell from a light Google, but it is the name of a 1999 film about virtual reality.
Interesting.
And not knowing what level of reality you're in and stuff like that. So, something to think about. She also taps her third eye when she's talking about a reset.
No, I need to... reset. High comedy from Lottie in this stretch.
Great,
I thought
great Lottie stuff.
Yeah, the way that she entered the kitchen. First of all, we got to speak of the devil.
Lottie appears.
We got the scones are to die for from Misty. Like, always tracking that kind of language. But just the way that Lottie's like championing her merits as a house guest because she announced herself
A+ Lottie.
instead of eavesdropping was just I just thought this was all really entertaining. And I also was quite amused by Shauna extending the olive branch of like, do you want to get lunch? And Lottie's like, the Google Cal is full. And Shauna's like, wait a minute. Mere hours ago, you showed up on my doorstep and told me you had nowhere to go and no one to turn to.
Yeah.
Now, of course, she is obscuring the truth, which is that she is going shoplifting with Shauna's daughter, Callie. So I get why she withheld that. But this is just, it was a fascinating dynamic playing out in this scene. I really liked this.
I love the shoplifting interaction because not only is it that callback to Lottie and the TJ Bucks, great stuff. And Lottie, we should note from the start, was the richest of the girls on the plane. So like of all the people who don't have to shoplift, it was certainly Lottie. Her dad is the one who got the private plane for them in the first place, right?
Great work.
Thanks,
Dad.
Mr. Matthews.
Great work.
Okay, so
but and then also that's where the mall is the setting of her hallucination.
Yes.
Yeah, when she went through the hatch and found the other girls at the
Alice
table in the
Wonderland
food
tea party sort of thing.
Yeah.
So she takes Callie shoplifting, and it reminded me a lot of the conversations we had in season 1 about when Shauna and Adam were like drinking and having sex in the car and stuff like that.
Yeah.
This very like Arrested Development juvenile behavior from Shauna.
Yeah. Trying to recapture the youth
Van
that
and
you missed.
Ty, dining and dashing and like running down the streets to, I think we're alone now, this like very teeny boppy mall based sort of song. So this idea of these like women who are forced to grow up way too fast and how they're stuck in this like teenage space.
I love that.
So Lottie and the shoplifting and Callie, this bonding, this $1,500 little red number.
Yep.
And then here it is. Here we are. The most bonkers needle drop. More bonkers than Nookie. We should mention Nookie by Limp Bizkit is nothing compared to what is playing in the Sadecki kitchen. Mallory Rubin, what is playing in the Sadecki kitchen?
Okay. So I paused the episode watching it for the first time and I said, did Joanna and I actually say on the first Yellowjackets pod, well, at least they didn't play Make Your Own Kind of Music when listing all of the Lost references, or like, did I just think we did that?
Yeah.
Because we literally just talked about
Did we literally say that?
I think so.
If not, we were definitely thinking it.
I think we literally just talked about this. I don't remember if we did it on mic or off mic, but like, this is astonishing. I mean, this is one of my favorite this was one in Lost, like one of my favorite needle drops in the history of television.
Yeah.
Like I would put this in my top 3 needle drops of all time, up there with like Heaven's Place on Earth and San Junipero, and I would have to think of the third. But this is like,
you texted me this before I watched the episode, and you were like, "Holy fucking shit!" They put "Make Your Own Kind of Music" by Cass Elliot from 1969 in the show. Lottie and Callie are singing as they're making harissa
it's not
chicken.
just playing. They're like, they're singing it.
They're singing
they're
it.
engaging with it, rocking out in the kitchen. Dude,
I know that we talk about Lost a lot on this Yellowjackets coverage. Probably too much for some people's tastes.
They want us
but
to.
They're just doing it now.
Yeah.
And something that I wrote back to you when you wrote that to me is like something that I hadn't really put 2 and 2 together is that my friend Emily St. James, who used to be a great TV critic, now a TV writer, published is in the Yellowjackets writers' room and published a book about Lost, critical essays about Lost.
Yes.
Last year. And Emily and her wife Libby are credited on an upcoming episode. I'm really excited to like see that episode that Emily and Libby have written that's coming later this season. But like they were already doing that in the writers' room. Emily and Libby joined the writers' room, I believe, in season 2 of Yellowjackets. And so they were already doing it, but I feel like the ramp up is like not just like winking at the audience, how you and I lost our minds when we saw the very Dharma Initiative coded supply drop last week. But this is just
was astonishing.
A lot.
I mean, it's the Desmond Hatch song.
Yeah.
It's like we go down into the hatch and we're with Desmond in his routine and he's making his smoothies and he's riding his exercise bike. This is iconic. Invoking this is so deliberate and intentional and trying to take us to a certain headspace that we were in when the world of Lost opened up for us.
Yes.
That is a really meaningful thing to do.
Who would you rather see on an exercise bike? Desmond Hume or Thunderbolt Ross, as played by Harrison Ford?
Why not both?
Okay, great.
Why not both?
Lottie and Callie are having a classic, sort of practical magic girls movie, sing along in the kitchen moment. Callie is thrilled. She's having the time. We've never seen her so happy on this show.
And she thinks the food tastes great, which is just an extra little knife in the rib to Shauna. Mom, you have to taste this. I just told you 6 hours ago your pancakes suck.
But this harissa chicken is delish. Yeah. And also, she's wearing Jackie's fucking necklace.
No! My elbow cracked that time. Falling apart on camera in front of everyone.
Lottie.
Oh my God.
This is an insane move from Lottie. Okay. So let's just track that heart necklace, shall we? Just as a recap for folks. Yeah. In season 1, episode 1, Jackie gave the heart necklace to Shauna when she was nervous to fly on the plane. And she said, quote, "Here is a good luck charm. Now nothing can touch you." In season 1, episode 5, Shauna puts it back on Jackie when Jackie is struggling in the new wilderness dynamic. Jackie dies wearing it. Yeah. Shauna puts it on Natalie at the end of season 2, right before she was meant to slit her throat.
Right. The hunt. Yeah. So.
And then we have, of course, seen it on Pit Girl, Mari, Jen, another girl. In the opening chase through the snowy woods, Pit Girl dies wearing it. Yeah. So it becomes this talisman of you're next.
You're marked.
You're marked.
Yeah, you're the target.
I don't know what the fuck Lottie thought was going to happen, but what she says to Shauna when Shauna justifiably loses her shit over this. Yeah. The mistake Lottie made was doing this at all. I don't know what she thought was going to happen, or maybe she was trying to provoke her.
I think we have to consider that.
But she says it never meant what you thought it meant, is what Lottie says.
Yeah.
The mistake Shauna makes is not explaining to her daughter, who already knows a lot of this.
Yeah.
This is my dead friend's necklace, and we used to put it on. How much does Callie know at this point? She knows enough.
Good amount.
Yeah. She could just explain it rather than ripping it off her throat and throwing a tantrum that Callie is surely going to, misunderstand.
And I think particularly so because in season 1, one of the actual emotional breakthroughs that they had, that was a very tumultuous, rocky stretch for their relationship, was when at the Halloween party, Shauna and Adam happened upon Callie in Jackie's jersey, and Callie had made the mistake of thinking that was her mom's jersey. And when Shauna explained to her it was Jackie's, and Callie's like, fuck, you saw me. It's not that you found me at a party high on Molly. It's that I'm wearing your dead best friend's jersey.
Right. So she's just been that's Jackie's necklace. Yeah. I think Callie had been like, wow, that was fucked up, Lottie. Yeah. But she doesn't.
And it's also, I think Shauna's obviously it's interesting because on the one hand, Shauna is encouraging and enabling Callie. She last week was like, play the video again. You rule. Show me how you pour into Swifty's guts that Randy brought you all over them. But and when Jeff is like, Shauna, we have to consider the possibility that our daughter is not okay, and then moves on to asking why they don't close the cabinets anymore.
Were you smoking chronic?
Are you smoking chronic? Shauna's like, this is kind of fine when it's her decision to expose Callie to the truth about the blackmail, the truth about the murder. Mm-hmm. It's fine. But Lottie is an element that Shauna finds dangerous and alarming and does not want certainly to expose to Callie in a way she can't contain, but also Callie's interest in this. I think it's not just the what will Callie learn and what will she be exposed to and what is Lottie's agenda. There's that extra, very human element of, wait, I'm bringing you into this.
Oh, yeah.
Not her. And
this
that's
is my daughter.
Very sad and intense. I think Lottie taking Callie, because Lottie's like, why are we here? Making it seem like it was Callie's idea to go do all this. But obviously every choice that Lottie makes there is hers, the shoplifting. But even just the idea of being at the mall, because of that scene we saw, the Alice Tea Party scene, the necklace, Lottie is putting her in the position of one of the girls on the team.
Yeah.
Right? She is moving her into the physical settings, into the the dressings and the garb of the people who were out in the wilderness and were a part of this thing. And when she says to Callie, See, I think that you, unlike most, have the capacity to answer that question. That is, if you choose to. Callie seemed so titillated by it. And it struck me as like, okay, we talked last week about, not only the thinking about and tracking how Lottie talked about the baby, you're going to change everything. And now she's like, I wasn't wrong. I just had the wrong kid. Callie's the Shauna kid who's going to change everything. But also, like, how does this compare what we're watching with Lottie and Callie to what we're seeing in the earlier timeline between Lottie and Travis or Lottie and Akilah? The way that she is trying to coax somebody into opting into belief, how she's grooming them.
Grooming is the perfect word.
It's really disturbing.
So gross.
Yeah. And so, of course, Shauna freaked the fuck out. That's what you wear when you mark people to be killed and hunted. That's what my best friend wore.
I'm 100% on Shauna's side. Get the fuck out.
Yeah.
I just would have taken a moment to tell Callie what's going on. For sure. Because I don't think this is going to go the way that
certainly
Shauna wants it to go.
What do you think Lottie thinks? Like, what does Lottie mean when she says it never meant what you thought it meant?
Means you're chosen? Yeah. Or just sort of like that maybe the act of dying for the wilderness doesn't mean what you think it means.
Right.
It's an honor to sacrifice yourself.
Yeah.
For the greater good. This thing that Lottie, thank you. The thing that Lottie says, Dream Lottie says to Akilah, right? You have to do it or she'll die, we'll all die.
Yeah.
It's an honor to sacrifice yourself to the it.
And that quote on the blackboard that we already shared, like, of all the ways to lose a person, death is the kindest. For that to be the message behind Lottie, there's the like justification of the things that they do.
Okay, so speaking of justification, let's wrap it up with Van and Ty. Our listener Julian called this perfectly.
Man.
That Van would get a diagnosis that her cancer was in remission, and that this then would mean to them that the waiter dying, that's the price, and the gift is Van's cancer in remission. And Van seems quite dubious and skeptical and frustrated, except by the time they get to Ozzy's, she seems like she's bought in. I didn't mind this. I like this sort of like Pee-wee's Playhouse tape, discover the local like commercial. I think that's really funny. I think they could have done it in his ear, the juxtaposition of like a bubblegum pink sort of ice cream parlor and the no-eyed man is like funny.
Yeah.
I'm just like, there's just no. What ice cream parlor would make this man their mascot?
You're selling a product to children. Man, it's horrifying.
Absolutely terrifying.
Yeah. What did you think about this again connects to what we've discussed a couple times today about how where we find them in the past connects to where we find them in the present. There's like a little bit of it's not linear. Everybody moves in and out, but there is an inversion of where we kind of
the Van.
I think our primary associations with them, which is like that Van was a believer and Ty was a
circumstantial believer. Ty would buy in when circumstance pushed her to that.
Ty like was such a Ty was like a wither. She would like make Van feel like shit about her belief initially. And then she starts going to the Lottie's prayer circle and she's like, well, I'm only going to go. We couldn't really say that she had opted in, but then it was like when she found herself in a moment of
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, need.
Circumstantial.
I thought you were saying that about Van. You're saying that about Ty. Yeah, yes, exactly. So yeah, like speaks to the wilderness when she and Shauna are trying to survive the storm.
Yeah.
So Van, we have seen Ty move into belief in the past. And then, of course, in the present, Van cut her own dog's head off to make an offering. Sweet Biscuit. Ty cut her dog's head off.
Biscuit. R.I.P. Biscuit.
Sweet Biscuit. Still wondering what's up with Sweet Steve. Hope he's okay. To make an offering in the very creepy cavernous space in her basement.
Yeah.
Van, quick to belief, also as recently as the premiere of this season, is the one at the Solstice Festival talking about sacrifices and miracles. And so we would expect Van to be like...
Yes, but So we don't have the full tracking of it. We have more information we need to learn in terms of what happened to them after they got back.
Yeah.
But the idea that like Ty leaves her and then she gets a cancer prognosis, terminal prognosis.
Yeah.
Would that not be enough to make anyone
Well, that's my question is like
a non-believer?
Is that when Van lost her? I mean, that's 25 years.
That's the question.
Or is it
I don't
like,
know.
Yeah.
Is it when Ty left her? Is it when she got the cancer prognosis?
Or does something happen in the wilderness
Yeah, exactly.
that swings Van to the other side, which I think would be like, I'd be really interested in that, actually, in seeing that. And I think even though with Ty, even though we have now in both timelines seen her opt in and partake in these rituals, I still think she's the most effective character because of how vocal younger Ty was in rejecting this idea of the supernatural for so long. She's the most effective character for giving us that sense of like the power of the wilderness to pull them back under its sway
sort of
at
like
any point.
when there's something you need. Like,
you can save the one you love.
In this circumstantial thing, when she and Shauna are lost in the storm, it's like life or death.
Yes. Yeah.
Your true colors come through. Or if it means she gets more time with Van.
Right. Yeah.
Then she believes.
Right.
If it means she gets to be a state senator and then quit her job. Okay.
Right before, on the VHS tape, right before we got the creepy commercial, there was an ad for The Land of Make-Believe off exit 12.
We've talked about the creepy bike, the derelict ice cream shop.
Yeah.
They spot a coyote with a dead rabbit in its jaws.
At first, I was like, "Oh, is it a wolf?" Because of the wolf
Yeah,
mauling,
yeah.
and also Ty was always seeing wolves.
I'm
in
pretty sure it's a
season one, but
coyote,
it
though, right?
definitely
Okay,
looked like a coyote. Yeah.
Yeah, I put in the notes coyote question mark, but I Google image search coyotes. I was like, I think that's
It
a
looked
coyote.
like a coyote.
Van is the one who's the closing line here. It's the closed captioning capitalizes it.
Yeah.
We know what it wants. It wants more. So Van and Ty
Van's
murder
back in.
spree.
I mean, we've had a lot of death already, so I guess the question is how much more? Because, like, you know, it's not just the waiter and Biscuit and Jessica Roberts. It's like Nat in the woods, Adam, Travis. I mean, the body count is like
happening again. 25
at this
years
point.
later, it's all happening again. Okay, theory ramification quarter.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about this cabin daddy daughter theory really quickly?
Hit me. Yeah.
Okay. So last year,
Yeah.
there was tease that there was a bonus episode of Yellowjackets. It never aired. The showrunners confirmed that they did in fact shoot an extra episode, and at some point they said we'll air it before season 3.
Right.
And then it never
So
aired.
like a Euphoria-esque
Yeah.
interstitial episode.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Ashley Lyle told Entertainment Weekly, right when they got like the first look at season 3, quote, "The truth is that there is a bonus episode, but we may need to wait a bit longer for it." Fans think that this is because it could either air between season 2 and 3 or anywhere. Fans think this is like a standalone sort of, if you are a Lost fan, it's beyond the sea, across the sea. If you're a Lost fan, across the sea, standalone flashback episode of lore.
Oh, man.
And this would explain why Jason Ritter, Melanie Linsky's husband, who was supposed to be in the last season, wasn't in the last season because he might be the person that fans like to call Cabin Daddy.
Yeah.
In a flashback episode. There is a behind the scenes photo of him in the Cabin Daddy jacket with a baby. And so fans are wondering if this is an origin story of the Cabin Daddy as played by Jason Ritter. We did get another actor playing Cabin Daddy, but Yellowjackets loves a recast.
They love a recast.
Okay. It might be Joel McHale this season. Who's to say? So there's a missing episode.
Oh, man.
That is Jason Ritter as the Cabin Daddy with, we think, a daughter. And if that daughter grew up to be Javi's friend who lives in the caves under the trees.
I love it.
Okay.
I love it. When will we get this, though?
I don't know. They might never air it because what if they've now decided instead of it being like a Rousseau-esque figure from Lost who's just been in the trees, now we've got supply dumps. Now we've got some sort of organization involved.
That makes me nervous. Like they don't know what the story is.
Oh,
no. Well, no matter what, Jason Ritter is not only on Matlock, which I have not watched, but making fantastic TikToks and Instagram reels about his cat Donut, which I have watched all of in full, and they're great.
Oh, Jason Ritter has been the
So
king of TikTok and Twitter for so long.
Great videos.
And he follows me on Twitter as well. Never leave Twitter. Jason Ritter, you're the best. I love him. I've loved him since Joan of Arcadia. Okay, so the next episode is called 12 Angry Girls and One Drunk Travis. Can we assume that this is the trial of Coach Ben?
I think that's a great assumption. It is an update on, preseason when the 4-episode titles dropped because people got their screeners. I just assumed this was a sequel to the Doom Coming orgy. Alas. Trial, frankly, I think is the best that Coach Ben can hope for.
Well, let's talk about who would be sympathetic to him. Mari, potentially, if she decides to not be an asshole.
Yeah.
Nat.
She owes him something.
Yeah.
That's certainly true.
Nat.
Yeah, she's,
Misty, who seemed kind of excited when she was like, Coach Ben's alive?
Yeah.
Van, Akilah, or Shauna, whom he saved from the aforementioned poison gas.
Yeah. Though, I mean, how grateful will they be? Van and Shauna were like, let's go kill this fucker.
That's 6, though.
Yeah.
It could be a hung jury if it's 6.
Oh, boy.
And that's a lot of named ones because
Who the fuck
rando
knows?
girls who we don't know.
Do they even get to participate?
I'm not sure all of these girls. I feel like somebody has to advocate for Ben if it's going to be a trial. And 12 Angry Girls invoking 12 Angry Men, like that's a jury debate.
Yeah.
So to have them debate over maybe not just his guilt, did he burn down the cabin?
Right.
But also what's the punishment for that?
Right. Yeah. And will they actually be able to, in the process of fact-finding and debating and presenting the arguments for the prosecution and the defense, will they be able to remain open-minded enough to follow what everybody is saying to a potential path of insight about what maybe actually did happen? Or is everybody going to be so guided and blinded by their rage that there's no room?
I feel pretty strongly that it's going to be an upsetting groupthink moment. And also just like an upsettingly watching the girls like Nat, who might want something different for Coach Ben, go with a popular opinion because I've been watching Traitors on Peacock, and this happens in every Traitors vote where it's just like, no matter what you think, you want to vote with a group or else you've put a target on your own back.
Yeah.
So
and I think for Nat, that's the that would be an interesting dynamic for any of the characters. Ultimately, I think Misty's probably the only one who would be like, I don't really care what you think of me. I'm going to say something unpopular, but like, I mean, she does care, obviously, deeply. Nat has something to protect now. Nat was already lying, and now that will surely come up. It was already kind of alluded to as we talked about here. So will Nat feel like she can't maybe do the thing that she wants to do and believe is right because she has to protect her position of power, a position she didn't even want? That would be I think a really interesting moment of like corruption for
I don't want it.
Nat
and guilt that she will carry for betraying Ben in this moment. Okay. Best needle drop.
Come on.
Make your own kind of music. Okay. And then the lost references we've already gone through. I continue to feel like the Sound of the Woods is very Smoke Monster-esque.
Sure, yeah.
Make your own kind of music. Sean's minivan doing the Dharma van journey up the grassy knoll. If you've never seen Lost, one of my favorite episodes, top 5 episode, Trisha Tanaka is dead. There's a very famous sequence where they're driving a VW van around a grassy knoll to the tune of Shambhala. So if you hear Downtown by Petula Clark or Shambhala by Three Dog Night, you'll know they're doing another Lost reference, and that's something we could possibly look forward to. Anything else we missed?
I don't think so. I mean, probably, but that's what next week's for.
hobbitsanddragons@gmail.com. We enjoyed your foie gras and dislocated kneecap emails. Thank you to Steve Ahlman.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you to John Richter.
Thanks, John.
Thanks to Arjuna Ramgopal.
Thanks, Arjuna.
And thanks to Jomi Adeniran.
Thanks, Joan. What a crew.
I know.
What a crew we have out here in the wilderness with us. The best.
We'll be back next week with some Daredevil and more Yellowjackets.
Can't wait.
See you soon. Bye.